And number one, Brad Logan here on the Talk of Champions and joined by former Rebel great Marquis Haynes. And Marquis, thanks very much for jumping on today as we kind of look back on your career as an Ole Miss Rebel.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's a pleasure and it's an honor. Thank you.
Well, I'd love to start kind of back at the very beginning out of the state of Florida. You had an incredible high school career at University Christian School, then, of course, at Fort Union Military Academy. You went to Louisville, North Carolina, before finally finishing up at Ole Miss. Take me through your high school career a little bit and tell me about some of the games that kind of jumped out at
My high school career was kind of just it was shaky a little bit. Starting off as a freshman, you go in a freshman to a high school, public school, and you think like, hey, like I'm gonna be here for the next 4 years, and all of a sudden you get a change of head coach and a new head coach come in, and the dynamic and the scenery change for you, and the aspect of what you see yourself doing, it changes for you as well. So during that process, I didn't even know I was gonna go to UC until summer summer I was playing AU basketball, and I had to have a tournament at University Christian, and I was playing in the game, and I dunked on the kid, and you know end up wowing some coaches that was there. They saw me play, and then next thing you know, they said, "Hey, would you like to play varsity?" And I was like, "Well, I think I was gonna be on another year JV had I would have stayed at my previous school, which was Andrew Jackson." So, uh, talked to them, met with them, um, and everything just started clicking from there. And then my next year was at University Christian, where I learned to be more of a homegrown, more mature person. Learning different things that I wouldn't have learned in the public school life. So by me taking a private school lifestyle, it was a big opening for me because it let me know that it was more out there for me to learn in life, not just like giving up or anything. It showed me to give me more motivation that I need to do because I represent the name on my back, and
you. Tell
I
me about some of
persuaded
the
that.
tell me about some of the games that you played in, and maybe some games that kind of jump out at you that you had a really good night.
Uh, I would say during the playoffs was a really good time where my junior year we played this team called NFC, and we lost to them. Uh, not bad, but we just ain't have the motivation and the motor we needed. And then turn around my senior year, play that same team again just to go to the state championship. I say NFC was the biggest game for us that we really needed. And then moving on from there was the Warner Christian game where we played that game too, and their team was likewise like us too, and we played lights out in that game, and that showed sparks and tremendous leadership by me because I needed to be the impact player of both games.
What did you enjoy? You play offense and defense in high school, or just defense?
But I was everything in high school: kicker, linebacker, receiver, tight end. I played a little running back. Yeah, whatever my team needed me to do, I did it.
How was it like growing up in Jacksonville? I know a couple of years ago, Ole Miss played in the Gator Bowl. I had a chance to go to the city of Jacksonville. What was it like for you growing up in Jacksonville, and how is what do you remember fondly about the city?
Uh, During that time growing up, we didn't have much stuff like we got now, so it's a big drastically change of scenery that's here in Jacksonville now. Growing up, when I was in high school, we didn't have no, town center and stuff like that. That was fully developed stuff. They was on the works of it. But now coming back home and seeing everything how it changed, and so it's a lot of more stuff out here. It's like it's more of a I want to say more of a city you can come visit for like vacation and stuff now.
Obviously, you were an incredible high school athlete, and I'm sure a lot of people came calling for settling on Ole Miss. Tell me about playing at Ole Miss.
Oh, Ole Miss was amazing 4 years. I think I was the most undersized player in Ole Miss history because I played at two. At first, I played at 210 pounds, and as a freshman, you looking like we had a 210 pound DN. Yeah, I was a 210 pound soaking wet DN playing as a true freshman, and And then out of the years, I started to gain weight and gain more confidence about how strong I really am.
Looking back on it, didn't play at Louisville or North Carolina. You did commit to them. Take me back through your high school recruiting before we get back to your playing at Ole Miss, and tell me about some of the schools that came after you, and how was that whole recruiting process your senior year?
Uh, I say during my junior summer, going into my senior year, I had multiple schools that was looking at me, but then it just came down to like, do I want to be close to home or away from home? And I always seen myself going away from home. So when it came down to Louisville, yes, I committed to them. I could commit to Louisville, but then once I found out that the head coach at the time, Charlie Strong, wasn't going to be there no more,
Yeah.
there was no reason for me to stay committed to them. And that's when, I built a connection with North Carolina. My cousin Sam Smiley went there, and he brought me on board, and I was committed to them throughout my whole senior year. Think I was going to go to North Carolina,
And
but
then
then
here
all
comes, yeah.
but then all of a sudden, that's when during that time, UNC, they had the academic fraud thing going on with the basketball team and stuff, and the administration didn't want to let me in because they said my GPA didn't miss my ACT scores, and so they had all the coaches at the time, Fedora and Dan Dish, and them fired up because it was like, why we not let this kid in because this ACT score just matched his GPA? So I ended up going to Fork Union, and Fedora ended up calling. No, Dan Dish ended up calling. No, Dan Dish and Fedora ended up calling Ole Miss because they knew Coach Barney Ferrer and Hugh Freeze at the time and said, "Hey, we got a special player for you," and that's how it came about.
What do you remember about Coach Barney and Coach Hugh Freeze during that recruiting process?
Oh, two down to earth men. Like they're amazing coaches. They never let me put my head down. That's one thing for sure I can tell you. Even when I got discouraged about playing in the SEC and I think I couldn't do it and stuff, they always gave me encouraging, motivating words to like keep me going.
As a freshman in 2014, you played in all 13 games. What was it like? And were you surprised as you to play as a true freshman in the SEC? You played in every game.
To me, it's very surprising because if you look at me back then, you're like, this kid can't play. Like he's undersized, he can't do nothing, he's not big enough yet. And then I go out and I prove a lot of people wrong that size really don't matter. As long as you got the heart and determination, man, you can do a lot of things out there.
What do you remember about that 2014 season?
Uh,
Your freshman
I
year.
I say the first time was when we beat Alabama.
That was one of the bigger wins, obviously in Ole Miss football history. The Rebels finished 5-3 in the conference, 9-4 overall. Opened up your very first game was against Boise State in Atlanta. Do you remember that game against Boise State?
That was my first career start as a true freshman
Yeah.
against Boise State, and that's when I got my first sack in it by being an Ole Miss Rebel.
Yep, 35-13. Ole Miss, as you remember, will run off 7 or 8 straight wins before losing at LSU, 10-7. Everybody remembers that game. I want to kind of go back to that game against Louisville, a team that you were committed to. Not Louisville, but go back to that game against Vanderbilt, which is the first conference game that you'd ever played in. 41-3 over the Commodores, and that was 14 was a really, really big year for Ole Miss. The LSU game, obviously, is the one that we talked about. And then the Auburn game, in which you lost a close one, 35-31. And then obviously lost in the Peach Bowl. But your very first college experience is finishing up in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. That had to have been a fun year for you.
Oh yeah, it was a rare fun year for a freshman. We didn't get the win that we wanted, but I mean, it just opened up the window for more opportunities that was yet to come for us.
Fast forward the next year, as a sophomore named second team All SEC, started 12 out of 13 games, finished with 43 tackles and 10 sacks. Obviously, the all-time sack leader at Ole Miss. That's something that kind of buried the lead with that. But I'd love to ask you what kind of started to click for you your sophomore year as, 10 sacks. It's a lot. What kind of clicked for you? and what began to come to you about how you could make a difference maker on that Ole Miss defense?
Just I think just me being myself, honestly. Like, um, I never tried to be like someone else who I wasn't. I always just wanted to be myself. So me during that time, my sophomore year, I just had like a lot of talks with myself, and I had to understand like if I'm going to be like a great player, then I got to take the things more serious, and that's what I did. I was taking things more serious, being more accountable to my actions, and just let my field of play do more talking for me.
Looking back, that was obviously one of the bigger years in Ole Miss history. 2015 would end obviously with a win over Oklahoma State in the Sugar Bowl. I know you remember that very, very fondly. The Arkansas loss in OT, we remember that one 52 to 50, 53
Man,
52 when that was kind of the heave backwards. What do you remember about that game against Arkansas?
uh, what don't I remember about that game? Oh man, there's only one play that gets me. Even the overhead. I mean, we don't get the holding call when I was rushing.
Yeah.
Then I had the game winning sack, but he ducked his head and my hand kind of his head landed to my hand and led to a face mask. So I mean, it's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, we still had a chance to win. But during that defense too, we only had 10 guys on the field when it was on the goal line.
That was a year in which the first two games, UT Martin 76 to 3. Excuse me. Fresno State 73-21. Offense was big that day. And then the big win over Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 43-37, when Chad Kelly hit Quincy Attaboyjo, and that was a game that will go down in history.
Oh
Marquis.
yeah.
What do you remember about that game, and what do you remember about how big that win was in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, it was a very big win. All I remember is, we needed a turnover, and so I ran our best rush, and I can't remember who Alabama quarterback was, but I gave it all I could
Yeah.
just to get him real good. He ended up throwing the pick, and that sealed the game.
That game was huge for you and the team. But some head scratchers losing at Florida 38-10. I don't know if you remember that game very well. And
Yeah, I
then the
remember that
really,
game.
really head scratcher was losing to Memphis 37-24.
Yeah, I remember those games. Sometimes you can't win them all in the SEC, and
Yeah.
you you gotta understand like even when you're playing at your best, there's always somebody who's scheming against you to know like, okay, we got to take away their best players, and you know let's get the ball running for us on defense or offense. And I think teams start to figure out like, okay, we can slow these 2 or 3 players down, we can score points in our defense. We shut these couple players down, we can actually win games and stuff. And that's what teams start to do. They start to develop more chip games and more protection plans and more run game. And that's when sometimes you got to go back to the old stomping grounds. You got to go back what you used to do.
Yeah, this particular year, winning against LSU at home 38-17 and at Mississippi State 38-27. Hugh always prepared hard for Mississippi State. And I know that was a game that was important to the team. Do you remember playing the Bulldogs during your career? You had a lot of success.
Oh man, I love playing. That's one thing I did love playing in the Egg Bowl, especially when they scheduled. I remember they scheduled us for senior night, and that was like one of the best, party crashings events I could ever attend. Playing for the Ole Miss Rebels and it was Dak Prescott senior year too.
Yeah.
So sacking him on senior night and getting the win, bringing the trophy back, that was a major win.
You would finish your career at Ole Miss out in 2017 before being drafted. What was it like the next 2 years, your junior and senior year, playing at Ole Miss?
My next 2 years was kind of it was great. I mean, my after my junior year, I really had to sit down with the head coach and really think about like, do I really want to go in the draft or do I want to go get my degree? And it it was up and down throughout the whole summer and stuff trying to decide, but like once I I prayed that night and let it all settled out and stuff like that. It came clear that I'm one semester from getting my degree, so why not? I mean, the NFL is gonna be there regardless. It's not going nowhere. So I stayed for my senior year, and not only did I get my degree, I also broke the all-time sack record, which was that was another key thing I was hoping on breaking.
Your senior year was one in which you guys made a trip out to Cal. Do you remember that trip?
Oh yeah, it was a long trip out to Cal.
Yeah.
That was a game that it felt like we was playing like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. It was a game Ole Miss would fall 27-16. Like you said, that was played. That kicked off at 10:30 Eastern,
Hmm.
by the way. So you were playing at 2 o'clock in many parts of the world. Uh,
Sheesh.
the game had a lot. The game had a lot of. Or should I say, the season had a lot of ups and downs. Had wins over Vanderbilt, UT Martin, South Alabama, at Kentucky, a close one, 37-34, and then the big one, 31-28 over Mississippi State. That was in Starkville. Do you remember that game? And that was how you guys would finish up the season 6-6.
Oh yeah, my senior year at Starkville. That's the best way you can end the seniors out. Is on the right page. Is winning the Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl means a lot to Mississippi, and I'm glad it's staying in Ole Miss.
You like I said, you would finish up your career at Ole Miss in 2017, and then drafted in the fourth round by the Carolina Panthers. What was it like playing for the Panthers? You were there from 2018 to 2023, and then finish your career in 2024. I know you enjoyed your time at the Panthers.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing experience. I mean, you learn a brotherhood, you learn commitment, you learn accountability, you learn seeing greats like Julius Peppers, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Mario Addison. I can go on and on and on, but you learn from great players that you watch on TV, and you watch how they take care of their bodies, how they are in meetings, and it give you a big eyesight because you never you don't know you're gonna be in the same room as them or on the same field as them, and just to be out there was a blessing. Just to understand why they're called greats, and how their career goes, and you just learn like different lifestyles from each one of them.
One thing that was really cool in the first go around with the Carolina Panthers, you had a touchdown. That was back on November 27th. I'm sorry, that was back on March 15th in 2022, week 3 against the New Orleans Saints. You had your first career touchdown in the first quarter. You remember that play?
Oh yeah, I remember that play. It was they was running outside zone, and Frank Louisville got in there, ripped the ball out. Next thing I know, I look at the football looking at me, and I just pick it up like a loaf of bread, and I just ran as fast as I could to the end zone.
Yeah, a lot of Mississippi fans were probably proud of you, but yet disappointed because that was Alvin Kamara fumbling the football. You ran for 44 yards. That had to have been a lot of fun for you. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals, you had a stint with them, and then that final stint with the Carolina Panthers. Were promoted to the active roster back on October 22, and then you announced your retirement from the NFL back in 2025. When you look back on the NFL, Marquis, what do you remember fondly about the experience, and what are some things you could tell maybe some college players that are going to be ready for the league? What are some encouraging words you could share with them?
Just go in and be humble. Go in and be yourself. Don't try to be nobody who you ain't. Always look for help. I mean, you gotta understand the NFL is not for long, and you gotta understand that your body and your mental is key to having a productive long career. Um, just make sure you be on time to what you got to get done, and you make your life more easier. My time there, I enjoyed my career. Um, if it wasn't for my herniated disc, my injury, and me having to get back surgery and stuff, I would continue to play. But because of that injury, I had to retire. And most importantly, for the college players out there, They're wanting to go to the NFL and, you know, wanting to produce and be Hall of Fame greats. Go chase your dreams. Don't let nobody hold you back. And always have somebody have a true teammate with you who's gonna push you, not somebody who's gonna hold you back and teach you the wrong. Get somebody who's gonna teach you the right. And make sure you always take somebody underneath your wing, because you never know. You never know what somebody else is going through until you bring them along with you. You never know how their mental going to be. You never know how stressed they are. It's a lot of things going in as a rookie that stresses a lot of people out that, you know, people don't understand. It's the meetings, it's the mistakes, it's, you know, you try to be perfect, but you realize at the end of the day, it's not going to be perfect. But as long as it look good and you get it right and you continue to move forward, everything gonna be just fine.
Kind of looking back over your career, Marquis, spent a lot of time in Oxford, spent a lot of time at Ole Miss, and interacted with a lot of fans. And just what does it mean to you to be a former Rebel? What's it mean to you to be able to come back to campus and have people be like, "Man, you were awesome, leading sack leader." What's it mean to be an Ole Miss Rebel?
Um, it's very humbling to me, because it just shows all the hard work and dedication that I had in the program, and you know it never went unnoticed. And you know, if it weren't for my teammates who were with me throughout them years, I wouldn't be one of the greats at Ole Miss that I am today. So I appreciate my teammates, I appreciate my coaches who took the time and helping me develop me to the person that I am. And you know, the all-time set record goes to everybody who helped me get that record. It's not just a me award; it's a their award too, because they helped me get that award. Because without the coverage, without D-line, without linebackers, without anybody, I wouldn't be able to get them sacks. So kudos to them, and I really appreciate them.
Marquis Haynes, very grateful to have a few minutes with us here today as we talked a little bit about the history of your time in Oxford. Had some really good seasons your freshman and sophomore year, a little bit up and downs. We had an incredible career in the National Football League. I know a lot of Ole Miss fans enjoyed watching you play, Marquis. Thanks very much for joining us. Look forward to talking with you down the road.
Yes, sir. And I'll be at the Ole Miss game, hot or toddy.
Look forward to talking with you then. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.